But here it is, 6:01. I'd like to call the Town Hall School Admin Building Committee meeting to order. All right, I see everybody's here except for John Doherty. I know he has a meeting. And Kevin Kyer is not with us.
Kevin coming? I know he had the invite.
I don't see him on Zoom, so unless he joins us later, and then I'll announce.
Yeah, he said he might not be able to be right on at the start.
All right, I know everybody got the minutes of February 16th and March 2nd, a couple of versions. We had some corrections that went out.
Move to accept the minutes of February 16th.
Second motion?
Motion made by Paul Malorani, seconded by Jack Holloway. Vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
George, just procedurally, I should abstain from the two because I wasn't at the meeting, so.
Okay, that's fine, one abstention. All right, Dan, next item on our agenda is the,
We have minutes from March 2 also, sorry.
oh, did I not mention February 16th, March 2nd?
I just said February 16th, but we can do them both.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for March 2nd.
So moved.
Wait a second. Motion made by Paul Malorani, seconded by Jack Holloway. I'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, one abstention.
One abstention?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, our OPM, Dan, status on our survey, on the site survey.
So site survey so they're doing two surveys, and obviously they're a little further ahead on the one, but we did get a draft survey from them on the school site, but it's not really enough to discuss tonight, Mr. Chairman, but clearly they're getting there. The St. Dorothy site, I know it's not in tonight's agenda, has everything but the utilities on it, and they expect to have that done in a few days. So I suspect by our next meeting, we'll have an actual full survey for Swain School.
Okay.
All right, but what I've sent to the designer to see if it was helpful, but some of the things aren't jiving. I mean, there's like a fence that's not on the property, and it looks like a pool that might not be on the property, and there's some things that I think some of their overlays aren't laid out right, so. And they don't have the meets and the bounds down, which means they haven't proofed it yet, so I'm gonna wait until we have the proofed version before bringing it to the committee, if that's okay with you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. When you do get it, you'll present it to our designer, so see what impact it has on the building.
Yeah.
Any question from the committee?
I couldn't quite hear all of what Dan was saying. Some of it didn't come through that well, but from what I understand, just, does it have an impact on where we're looking at these buildings?
I think he stated it's too soon to tell.
It's too soon to tell. It looks as though it's possible there might be some vegetated resource on the far right side, and that it has to be finalized with the instrument survey. To be honest with you, Diane, I don't know. The plans were not complete enough for me to tell you one way or the other.
Well, are the people that are doing the survey aware that the town has their own GIS mapping system too, as well?
So, the GIS mapping system doesn't, they have to tie the instrument survey to the bounds that are laid by the county back in the day. So there's datum points all throughout the town, and what's clear is that they've done all the research, so they go to the registry of deeds and they have to research every deed that touches this property. So they've gone and done all the research work. What they haven't done is tied the survey off. They've started it, it's just not complete.
I have all the GIS information in my drawings now.
You do?
Yeah.
You do?
Yep.
Okay.
That's just not enough to do what we need, just not enough.
Yeah, no, we gotta have more, right.
It's
Okay,
almost,
thank you.
it's almost there, Diane. I mean, if you saw the quality of the work with St. Dorothy's, I think you're gonna be really happy with the quality of the work you're gonna get for Swain. It's just a little behind. When we cut them loose, we had them start on St. Dorothy's first, because St. Dorothy's is a little bit ahead of this project. So, we had them work on St. Dorothy's first.
Okay. thank
Okay.
you.
Jeff, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just in terms of the geotech piece, I know one of the things that we want to be mindful of is the whole water table issue under the parking lot there. When does that happen?
So when the survey's completed and Phil can locate the building on the plan where it was supposed to go, Phil's structural engineer will give us some boring locations, and we'll do the borings based on where the building is going to go.
Okay.
And we'll get all that information. It will pop up right, we'll get water level, we'll get strata every foot of what's in the ground, and it'll be enough for Phil to be able to complete his design. All right.
Civil's also gonna wanna take a look so they can lay out things like the parking lot and where they might do stormwater retention, so that if they wanna dig a hole somewhere to see what's down there, to make sure if they're gonna do,
Yeah, we'll be doing some perks for
so
stormwater.
we know all that's gonna work.
Right.
We may end up doing a number of them around the building and in the building footprint, and we may do one or two out in the lot or wherever they're thinking about doing stormwater retention.
Okay. Yeah, I just really, given the history there, as we've mentioned in the past with the Swain School and the water issues they had, we just need to be mindful of that situation.
Phil and I visit that site every time we come here.
Okay.
And, if you go there today, which is the wettest time of the year, you'll see it's weeping.
Yeah.
So we know there's definitely water traveling there. So, but we also know that they're dumping snow at the top over and over and over, and they've created a little berm so that the water can't get to where it's supposed to go to either. So, I mean, we'll address all of that when the time comes. We're just not there. I hate to say that, Diane, because I said it last meeting. We're just not there. But we're almost there.
Okay. I do remember one thing is that I think there's a monitoring well there at the Whitfield school there there's a USGS monitoring well there that monitors the history of the water there.
I think you're at the wrong side.
And I don't know if that might be helpful for,
At Whitfield?
You mean
at the
the,
Swain, at the
Oh,
Swain
okay.
school.
there is,
At the Whitfield school. No. There is one at the Whitfield school.
right, not at the Swain.
Right, and that helps, the Whitfield school, yes, it is at the Whitfield school, but it does help to let you know the water table, how it's going,
So
and,
the borings will tell us the water level, and the type of soils will tell us, the history of water travel there. So I'm quite certain that we'll have a full understanding of what's underneath that site when it's time to do the geotech portion. We're just not there yet, Diane.
yeah, cause I echo the same concerns of the town manager there, and having lived in the town a long time, I know that, everybody seems to be concerned with that water issue over there. Okay, thank you.
Right, and we don't plan on actually having a basement or going into the ground anyway, so.
No, but we are gonna have to relieve the pressure on the back side of the building.
Right.
And he'll do that through
We're
design.
gonna have to build it, so if it's close, we're gonna have to deal with it during construction.
Yeah, we'll have to deal with it during construction, and
Right, footings and everything else, correct. Okay.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, discussion of areas, adjacency, interior spaces, building layout, with Johnson Roberts. Everybody receive a copy of the presentation. You also should have seen it in an email, so you had a chance to review it.
So I have, got a couple of slides that I've done in the past. We're getting pretty close on program, I think. We met with the school department again, and we went over their needs again. We've made a couple little tweaks based on that. I think we have a better understanding about the way that they envision doing business in the building, and it's gonna help when we're laying that out. And so we've made a couple little tweaks to their program requirements. It doesn't make a big impact on what they're doing, in terms of the overall square footage. But other than that, so you have seen this document before. If anybody's looking real close, and I don't expect you to read, again, I don't expect anybody to read all these numbers, but basically it's broken down by department. The town administration is first listed here, so with the town administrator, the town clerk. I've reorganized these, so I've reordered them, and I've kind of laid them out in terms of the adjacencies, just so that you can track the program diagram to the numerical program a little easier. And when I get into the second page here, I've created a new department here based on what you asked me to do last time. We have not yet had a chance to meet with the Public Works Department about exactly what they need. And so based on a conversation we had between the last meeting and this meeting, we have made an estimate. We understand that there is a director and 5 people there. And based on other things that we've done that are similar to this, our understanding is that they're gonna have kind of the same types of things in their department that the engineering department or the building department does. And
So, can I ask you, what type of an impact does it have on the square footage on this? Is that 1,100 square feet?
that's about 1,100 square feet is what's listed right there, yeah.
And that was for 6?
That's for 6 people, so that's a little bit bigger, than the engineering department.
Yeah.
And a little bit smaller than what's in the building department. And so that may,
Did it have any impact on the overall square footage of the building?
yes, this is a new department and it wasn't in there before, and so that square footage gets added to the total. In addition, so this has just been reordered. So the other thing that I did is, there's a couple of minor little tweaks in school department, and we've added a public reception counter right here for a couple of square feet, and we added a future staff position here. These aren't big moves, a couple hundred square feet in that. But the other thing that I added without knowing is, but I didn't want to lose sight of it, is I've added a storage department. Each of the departments has their own storage. And so I picked a number and I put it in here, 450 square feet. Again, that's kind of halfway between what engineering has and what the building department has. Don't really know if that's what they need, but I put it in as a placeholder. And then that total down here, this revised total, is now about 45,300 and some change. Last time we were at about 43 and a half, so we've gone up by about 2,000 square feet total.
So, those,
It's
excuse
been, oh, good.
yeah, sorry, so the stuff that's in red is the changes since the last time we looked
I
at it.
didn't flag everything in
Okay,
red,
but
Paul,
most of
but
it?
I flagged the kind of big items.
Okay, and I think in the school, the one future was, I believe, in the superintendent area, not in student support
Okay,
services.
that won't affect the overall
Yeah, it's just.
total, I'll
right.
just move it to the
Yeah,
other.
the,
I had
the,
it
the
other
waiting
way.
area is correct
Yep.
in student support services, but I
Okay.
think the future possibly would be in the,
Okay,
school admin.
The reason I ask about the impact on the square footage is there's been some discussion as far as the water department actually being moved here into the building. In our facility master plan, I think you may have seen, it was identified as a flood plain or flood area, that the equipment that's been in that building for the water department has been adapted so they could put the admin in there.
yep,
But because it floods out, it prevents some access to that location. In the facility master plan, it did call for them to be relocated to the DPW and make an admin office in there, but that was pushed out to 2028 or 2030. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was in that. So we were looking at putting them in here as an exercise, so to see what type of an impact it would have, so.
In-
Yeah,
in-
just to that point, I had some follow-up conversations, so there's gonna be a change, leadership change in the department here. You know, July, our director is gonna be retiring, and the sense that I've gotten as a follow-up is that one of the things that's been raised about the prospect of DPW admin going into the town hall slash school administrative building is it kind of removes management from the operations folks, and I think there's some measure of concern about that, and I guess some of the newer public works facilities, I think Westford was referenced to me and a couple of others, they have the admin with it, you know, in the same building as the garage and the operations folks, so, you know, it stands to reason, I guess, the people that you oversee, you don't wanna be, you know, on the other side of town from where they are, so it may make sense, to hold off on that. I guess, you know, and George and I have talked about this, and obviously one of the concerns is, you know, it's unclear when the other facility will happen, or even if there can be modifications to 135 Andover, which is where the highway garage is. It's certainly a few years down the line. We have had some flooding over there. I forget the last time we had significant flooding, but I think Mike Wood said take a canoe to get into his office. You know, hopefully we won't have that in the next few years.
We've had this conversation, I'm like, is it cheaper to add 1,100 square feet to this building or space to a building that we're in the process, or wait till we build a new building to put these people in? And how long is that gonna be, and when's that gonna happen, and will we have more flooding at the time? So, that's,
You guys gotta tell us.
yeah, exactly, so.
So, yeah, I mean, the
If
sooner the
they're
better.
in, they're in. If they're out, they're out.
It's a significant change in the building, but the building is, the overall building design, we can keep moving ahead with it, and then we can squeeze it out later. Obviously, the longer we wait before we squeeze it out, the harder it's gonna be, because we'll have more and more drawings that are gonna be based on the plans. Right now, we're really just dealing with the plans, and we've got this model that up to this point has really just been a massing model, and we're gonna get to that a little bit further, but we fiddled with that a little bit now, and I'm gonna show that to you, but we've only done one thing with it. But, you know, all that won't work if the size of the building changes. That whole
Right.
thing has to.
So what we'll do is, by the time we have our next meeting, I'll have a discussion, and we will make a determination on that.
Because, just in rough numbers, the 1,100 square feet, 450 I have for storage, and then there's a 35% multiplier at the bottom, and that gets tacked on everything. And so that's where the 2,000 square feet roughly comes from. That's what the impact is on the overall size of the building.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, just repeat that.
What we have in there as a placeholder is about 1,100 square feet for the office for Public Works. We've got a 450 square foot storage space for them. And then on all of the net square footage spaces, there's a 35% multiplier.
Thank you.
I think Selectman Tyra was against it too.
The 35% is for corridors, elevators, stairs, the thicknesses of walls.
That's why we'll have a
duct
discussion
spaces.
by
That's-
next
it's
meeting.
standard.
Yep.
Okay,
All right?
we continue on, thank you.
Thank you. So we updated the program diagram again as well, and so we created this additional space over here. And basically what I did is I copied the engineering department, because I don't really know what's gonna happen over there, and then I modified it by adding one more station, and it got a little bit bigger than engineering because
We're running out of colors.
I am running out of colors, so. And then we made the minor modifications to the program diagrams here. We added one station in here, which I will pull out and I will put over here. And then we added a little reception counter and some waiting area in this area. And then the other thing we had on here was, you'll recall, cable TV. I had kind of X'd out, and I have just eliminated. And then this is the draft size. That's the square footage that we added for storage. And you can see that's the kind of middle of the road between some of the bigger ones and smaller ones without really knowing what exactly we're gonna do. Oh, and I modified the kind of toilet room layout to be closer to what we've been talking about. All right, so I have a new scheme that we're calling Scheme E. I threatened to do this last time. I have rather than updating scheme A3 or updating scheme D, what I tried to do is take the things that folks seem to like in both of those schemes and put them together. So you will recognize this kind of meeting room block that comes from the D scheme. The overall shape of the plan kind of has some of the aspects of the D scheme, but it is not nearly as long left to right. And so we've shrunk that down and then thickened it up front to back, a little bit more like A. The other thing that we did is, you'll recall in D, the elevator and the stairs were in the middle of the plan. And folks like to have that over here closer to the entrance, the way we had in A, and so we did that here as well.
That's great.
We also took the kind of, the combined, kind of public counters in the departments from the schemes that folks liked, and we used those here. And what I've tried to do here is, the other thing that you'll see is a couple little, looks like dots in the middle of the plan here. I've started to think about how this building might be framed, and not to throw reality into this thing as well, but we try to lay out a structural grid that makes sense and is simple. So all of the beams from left to right and top to bottom are all the same. It just makes it much more efficient, it's cheaper to build. All the floors are the same, all the stairs and the toilets are in the same spot, everything stacks up. We're just trying to make it as efficient as possible, right? So we've got a 20-foot grid here that goes 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet, all the way across. So that, you know, somebody just has to make beam type A, just make 50 of them, right? And it just makes it more cost effective. But because there's a couple little spots where these little dots show up in the offices, I wanted to show you that the idea here is that we will bury those. You won't end up with a column in the middle of a room if we can avoid it. Like in a storage room, no one's gonna care. But the idea here is that we bury them inside the walls of the offices. And so I didn't lay out all the interior offices of all the departments, but this is the kind of thing you'll see when we get a little further along. So we've got the treasurer collector here, and then there's a couple of offices in there, and they're here. And so the columns are inside that wall. So you can see, that's why I just did an example, because we're not really ready to lay the whole inside of the building out at this stage. The only other thing that I was kind of up in the air was between A3 and D the last time, is A3 had the exit stairs on the back side of the corridor, and the D plan had the exit stairs on the front side of the corridor. So that was a judgment call about where I was gonna put them. They work in both places. The question is if you'd rather get them away from the kind of, when I think of the diagram of the building as kind of simplifying things, I've got meeting spaces over here, I've got a center spine of a corridor here, and then I've got kind of offices on the front, and then I've got kind of small closed spaces in the back, storage, mechanical rooms and so forth. And so the diagram makes me think that stairs belong back here, but I didn't know how folks felt about it. If I pulled the stairs out of here, for example, I could put something over here, and you could take advantage of window spaces on the outside walls, for example, right? That might be helpful. I don't know how folks feel about it, though.
You need to have those stairs in the plan somewhere?
Gotta have exit stairs in the building.
Right, for
Yep.
means egress.
Yeah.
So that's to the second and third floor.
Yes, it's so that everybody,
Refuge.
so everybody can get out.
Yeah.
Right, I've got a stair in the center of the building that's open, probably won't be open all the way up, because it's a 3-story building, but those exit stairs need to be enclosed.
Mm.
And they need to be on the outside, so that when you get into them, you can get right outside when you're done.
Is it possible to, where you have the stairs on the far right now, it looks like there's a exit way up above, right in that hallway, right? Is that an exit there from that where that hallway is?
Here?
No, right in the middle, right
Right
there.
at the end of the building.
Potentially, yes.
So could you, when you come in that side, door, could you have, stairs that go up to the, that are kind of running horizontal to the building as opposed to perpendicular? so you're not taking away the, window space from that office on the far right, but the stairs are, kind of running, parallel to the hallway there.
So could I turn the stairs this way?
Yes.
Potentially. I can look at that. I'm not sure if that's a big benefit. What I'm suggesting is.
That's
that you
IT in
pull
the
up-
corner, so they don't like windows anyway.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm suggesting is we take the stairs and we move them to the back here. So they'll fit back here.
Oh.
Take this stair, slide it to the back, and then the elevator, stairs and toilets would move to the right.
My concern is the exit of the stairs, knowing that we've got the slope of the hill going up. We kind of want those stairs to be closer to the front.
Well, on scheme A, with the stair here, you get out at the middle floor
True.
instead of out down the lower. It works either way. If folks don't care, then I will put them in the place that makes the most sense as I move along. And then I'll just point it out to you. It doesn't matter to you all.
Because that's where they were in D.
This is where they were in D. And
Yeah.
in the A scheme, they were here,
Right.
on the other side of the corridor, with an exit on this one out the middle floor. And then the exit on this one, if it's back here, that may come out on the middle floor, or it might come out on the landing. It might go down half a floor and then up, depending on where the grade is here. I don't really know until we get some survey information, locate the building.
So will you need a second stairway up there? If you're getting out on the second floor, the people on the first floor have to run up the stairs to get out. They're gonna come out
They're probably gonna come this way.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Be two means of egress out of each floor, right? And so technically, from this floor, don't need it.
Right.
Close it off.
Right.
But you do need it between the second and third floor. But it makes sense to have a door if anybody wants to use it.
Right.
So
The
the-
fire
those-
department's gonna want it.
Those stairs, to the far left there, those would presumably, the doors would be locked in the evening, because we wanna have that area accessible to the public without opening up the whole building, right?
Yes, I think that in most cases, you'll probably lock the stairs all the time. So you'll be able to always get into the stairs,
Yeah.
and then once you're in the stairs, you can get out.
Only at the egress
But
point.
only at the egress points.
Right.
So there'll be signs on the door, unless you say you want the staff to be using them to get up and down, that's a policy decision. But it's also a security issue.
Right.
So typically, in a building like this, they always have to be operable to get into them, but once you're in, you're stuck, the only way out is the exit.
Why wouldn't you, put an exit at the end of that hallway? Are you worried about the grade
No,
right there?
we could, I've got the exit coming through the stair
Right.
now,
Goes through the
it
stairs.
might work here, I don't know.
Okay. It just seems to me that if they were evacuating the building, the straight shot down the hallway makes the most sense, rather than to go through a door, getting to that stairwell, and
Yes.
then out another.
I think what he's saying, it may.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it may,
Okay.
I just don't know what's gonna happen.
Sure, okay.
And, I mean, this stair may end up doing something funny,
Yeah.
and I may end up coming in, you may come in and go down 5 steps and then out.
Or you may relocate it altogether.
Yes, I don't really know what to survey.
Okay.
Okay.
So other than that, the front of the building here lays out pretty much the way it did on the other schemes. With storage across the back, the vault is across the way. We've taken the vault door away from the main corridor and we've
Yep.
tucked it off to the side, so that the public it's kind of out of the public's view. And then we've got, a small janitor's closet down here, a little coffee spot. There's, access to the server room for the town offices, and the mechanical and electrical are in here. I'm trying to keep them on an outside wall so we can get some fresh air in there. All right, and then there's the north arrow. I should point that out. One of the ideas here is that, we're facing south here, and so we'll have light coming in the window. When you get up to the second floor, we have another entrance that comes in from the rear that we have been talking about, as well. We've also got an entrance that comes directly into storage and custodial. There is a potential that you could do another entrance into this other storage room as well. But it's really depending on the grade and whether or not you really need it. So this one, the way it's laid out is we have another department here. This kind of golden color is the Public Works Department. And so we've got recreation, health and building department, public works, and the town engineer are here. And then planning is moved across the hallway. We still have exterior windows and so forth on this floor. And this little area right here of the counters kind of forms a little suite. One of the ideas that we talked about that you liked under one of the schemes was kind of a spot where people can stop, fill out forms, kind of pull off the beaten path a little bit, and so we've tried to do that. Give folks a couple of spots where they could do things, lay out a set of plans, fill out a form, fill out an application, and so forth.
Phil, if you remove that Public Works, does planning move over, or?
I don't know. I would guess that the planning would move over and take the place, and this would become more storage.
Okay.
And then the overall building would squeeze a little bit. Yeah, that's my guess. You're probably right.
Well, I was just thinking, because it seems like there's an awful lot of storage, as I'm going through, I was kind of doing a quick calculation, and seems like there's an awful lot of storage in the building.
Sure.
Not that I'm against storage, you can never seem to have enough, but
Yep.
here we have about 7,600 square feet, maybe?
That's right. With the new 450 square feet that we have in there as a placeholder for public works, that's about 7,600 square feet is right. Yeah.
Okay.
Without it, it's just over 7,000.
That's a good question, George, that you're raising too, because I was looking at that as well, the storage space. And, we could have someone at town meeting, stand up and say, well, why are we creating so much storage space? Will there be a place off-site? Especially if the existing town hall that you're in right now is vacant, would some, and whatever becomes of this building, maybe it is a community building, I don't know, or whatever, but is it better to have all this extra storage in here? Because I think that's gonna be a question that's gonna come up at town meeting versus having this building empty after. So, I don't know, I'm just throwing the question out there, that's all.
Is
to-
there
for
a
us to think
standard,
about.
is there a standard, for, percentage of square footage of an office building for storage purposes?
No. It's based on what we have done. It really depends on what your storage needs are in the community. And some communities, for example, in Drake, it's a 3-story building, 2 stories and a full basement. And it's built into the side of the hill, so the basement is actually daylight's on one side, which is great because they can come in with a truck and take things out and so forth, which is one of the things that you'd like to do here. But in that case, that full basement is 1/3 of the building. That's much larger than what you have. That's 33%. You're at about 15%. Other places that we've done have had very little because they have they do their storage off-site or they do it electronically. And I did a 2-story town hall that had like a 500 square foot storage room, the whole building, because they were trying to squeeze square footage out of it.
Sure.
This is a discussion we had once before, and we actually talked about whether or not, for example, you wanted to keep recreation storage here, which is 1,500 square feet. It's one of the larger ones that you have, or if you wanted to keep it where it is, or move it somewhere else.
Right, because currently it's at the Art Center, that's
That's
where they
right.
keep a majority of their stuff.
That's
I
right.
know they do have some here, but this is implying that all that stuff is coming over here.
That's where that square footage number comes from. It's basically
Does
what they
this-
have at the art.
With this square footage, does this also, can it be established as kind of flex space, so to speak, so that if we do in fact need this square footage for storage, obviously gets used for that purpose, but if we have unanticipated needs for office space, for example, I'm thinking a number of years ago, the planning office had a community development block grant program, so we had a administrator and a clerical person, and we could kind of squeeze some space out in a location here. Was not intended for that purpose, but that we needed space for a temporary function. Could this storage space be used for that purpose?
The simple answer is yes. And the only qualifier, I would say, is that down on the lower level, we've got storage back here piled against the grate, inside the building. So we've got the vault in there. The vault would not make an easy thing to turn into an office, obviously, but that's sitting in the back against the grate. So that's in a great spot. You've got storage rooms back here in the blue. You wouldn't be able to do offices in there because there's no natural
No
light.
windows.
But when you get up to the second floor and again on the third floor, these blue spaces across the back do have access to windows, and that space is basically raw space that you could renovate, I mean, in the future to turn it into office space, sure.
That could be your public works, yeah, or something along
Future
those
expansion.
lines. Future expansion.
Right.
Yeah, 50 years from now, with.
Well, there are to the manager's point, there are programs, or was it the tobacco or something at one time that,
Tobacco control, yeah.
tobacco control that we
You
had
never know
to.
what they're gonna throw at you.
Yeah, you never know. There's a grant that becomes available and we have an office.
Why don't we call it /storage/future expansion?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I mean.
yeah, exactly.
Can I just ask you a question on the first floor? Do you see the need for any storage near the meeting rooms? Are there anything, tables, chairs, or anything like that that need to be stored close by to those rooms?
That space right there.
Just
Yeah.
throwing it out there.
Right, that's right.
Oh, is that storage?
Yeah,
Storage.
it's got double doors too, so you
Oh,
can.
I'm
And that's in
sorry,
your
okay.
and that's
Yep.
in your calculations for the
Sorry.
7,600.
I thought that was a hearing room. I didn't read the whole thing. Okay.
Right.
That's
That's
a
great.
separate line item.
It's a
in
sep-
the- Yeah. That's actually, there was a
I actually
storage room
like this
associated
layout with
this.
the, it's got a kitchenette and it's got, cable TV right there.
Yeah, it actually is a good layout.
Yeah, that's a good layout.
Paul, where are you talking about, Paul?
I was
You're talking
talking,
about the-
Diane, in
The
between the large hearing room and the
Yeah.
other hearing room. I didn't see there's a storage area in the middle there. I didn't see that.
Oh, there is storage in
Yep.
the middle. Okay, because
Yep.
I see a kitchenette there. I mean, I'm only looking,
To the left of it, to the left of the
Yeah.
kitchenette.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna enlarge that just a little, zoom in a little bit more here so I can
Yeah.
see. Okay, so there's a hearing room, large hearing room, okay. And the selectmen, hearing room for the selectmen, okay. Kitchenette and then cable TV.
Right.
So you're saying, for extra seats or whatever would need,
Tables, chairs.
okay. Got it. Thank you. It's so hard to, for me to follow along here, because I'm working off my computer here on the layout, but, okay, I got it.
So in the front part here in the center, in this pale purple color, in gray, we've got, some of the support spaces that go along with this floor. We have basically, one of the ideas here is that we can combine the mail and copy room, with the printer room and the coffee stop. Maybe they can all just be in one open space. I think that'll probably work based on what's going in there and who's going in there. And it'll be cheaper and easier to, I think, to manage and to build. And it'll be more flexible for the future. And we've got a couple of conference areas here. So it makes sense to have this stuff kind of together. You can run in and out, make copies if you need to, or get some refreshments or whatever.
Are those support columns I see in each one of those offices?
Yes, and again,
They'll be buried in the outside walls. Remember if you go back, there's rooms in each one of those.
Yeah.
that's right. They'll be buried inside walls like this where the offices go. But that's exactly what they are, George. And then town manager's office is in here, and again, we're assuming there's a number of offices in here. We're assuming that we'll do that. Same thing in here.
The town manager will not be able to watch fireworks from his office.
Right.
Unless it's an errant shot.
Take cover.
From this conference room, you'll probably get a nice view from that conference room.
Yes.
They're in.
And then, but this is where you want to be.
Right.
In the
Yeah.
penthouse.
In the penthouse.
That's house, yes.
Well, on the second floor, did I miss the shower? Is that gone?
The shower is on the second floor here. We've combined it, again, we're trying to get efficiency going on, and so we've tucked it off with the the other toilet's here.
Steam room in the middle.
So the staff toilet is right over in here.
All right.
It's next to the select
But
board's
when we
lounge.
get up to the third floor, Paul, you'll see that we have another staff toilet here.
Okay, yeah.
There's some storage spaces across the back, some support spaces right here in the middle, including a staff room, a little coffee counter. There's a room right there that, I'm sorry, doesn't have the door, so you can't get in there. And we have a small conference room down at the end here, and a couple of conference rooms here. If you swap these around a little bit based on our conversation, this room is accessible, this conference room, this kind of mid-sized conference room is accessible directly from
Yep.
this department. And we've also added some of the, a small amount of the storage there based on your request. And then we've got the superintendent's office down here, and they have access directly to this larger conference room. But of course, everybody could get to it from the hallway.
The staff break room, the IT room, and the copy mail, the way that's laid out. So to get into the staff room, you're walking through the,
You're going through the copy area, copy and mail room area.
is that, I mean, is there a, best practice, not the right word, but the layout, 'cause it's a little bit different. than
So
what-
regarding the bathrooms there on that second floor, so in the front of the companion bathrooms, what
Yep.
you would call them bathrooms, and then are those, other bathrooms that are in the back?
Yeah, it's a men's, there's a men's and women's toilet in the back.
Okay.
It's a little something for everyone here.
Is
So-
that the type that, will have a door, or like what you see in airports that,
This-
you know, is,
These are, I'm showing doors on these right now, on the second and third floor. The other option you could do is on the first floor, they are more open, like in an airport. The reason I added the door here is because you have folks coming in to get to the staff toilet, and you wouldn't want them walking right by that opening to the men's or women's room. The idea of the privacy you get in an airport type toilet is that the only people that walk by that opening are the people that are headed into that toilet.
right?
It'll work either way. Depends on how kind of, how s-
So then you have custodial, you know, the room for custodial, and then you have storage. Is that the storage for the custodial area? Cause I don't see any door or anything around that light blue storage area.
Right, that's all one space. I'm assuming that there is no hard line, just like I haven't delineated the different storage spaces for the departments inside these storage rooms.
Yeah,
That's not a conversation we've had yet. If you think we need to delineate the different storage rooms and break them up into small rooms, that's gonna get expensive and difficult, but it could be done. I'm assuming that this is all in the same space,
Right, that'll be good.
so that it's flexible.
You'll have a slop sink in there, there'll be all your supplies, everything
Right.
else will be.
yeah. Okay, so probably, that would probably mostly be used by the custodial staff there.
Yes,
for the
because,
supplies and
yes.
things like that they would need.
The program calls for a storage area for each of the different departments, but we haven't had that discussion about whether or not they needed to be separate. But in addition to that, there's also 500 square feet of general building storage. And I'm spreading that out around, so I'm assuming that that's what that space is general building storage.
And with regard to, I see it looks like on the third floor, the school admin, I guess that's IT or IT suite, that's,
In the center, in gray in the center at the back.
on the far right side.
The far right side is, on the far right side is a small conference room.
On the third floor?
Yeah, no, you're right, Jeff, it's school administration, OIT suite, that's what you're seeing in
Yeah.
that.
And then there's a
Whatever
small
color.
conference room.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in terms of server, space for servers and all, is that just intended to be in the large block for the school IT and the town IT? Or is there gonna be a separate and distinct,
There is
area for the server rooms?
There is a separate and distinct server room. On the third floor, the server room is here. It's the room here that doesn't have a door in it.
Oh, okay.
And on the,
I
on
read
the,
it.
on the second floor,
Oh, yeah.
I might have put it on the first floor here.
Okay.
On the first floor, it's down near the electrical and mechanical room.
Okay.
That's the town hall server room.
Yep.
Okay.
On the, just a real quick question, and you tell me, like, that area then, again, this staff break room, I assume it's the same size as it was on D the last time, in the server room and the copy mail, that configuration, is that, like, in your experience, that makes sense, like, versus, moving the server room behind the copy mail room and the staff break room, a rectangle going
You
from the
want
back
that
to front?
stat, you don't wanna
Yeah.
walk through the mailroom.
Well, no,
do you?
I don't know, I mean, is that what, I can't envision how big the mailroom is, I mean, it's not like we're gonna have,
Well, on the right-hand side, that white strip
Yeah.
is a 2-foot wide counter. So you could be standing in front of that counter and there's gonna be 10 feet behind you.
Plenty of
So
room.
there's room
Okay,
to
okay.
put copy machines over on the right-hand
Yeah,
side and for somebody to stand there, and you're gonna be able to walk right by and,
Okay.
create. I'm trying to eliminate the amount of, this beige space, this corridor space.
Mhm.
That's space that you have to build, and it's useful, but it's not part of your net square footage requirements,
Okay.
right? So I'm trying to squeeze the building as much as I can to make it more efficient.
okay, that's fine, okay, so that's a counter on that, all right.
So I have a question on this third floor here now, where you have school administration, student support services, and you gave them a storage room.
Yep.
Does that take away from, and I know there's at least 12, right? When I ask Paul Ruggiero, are there 12 people involved in that, student support services?
I believe that's the number, yes, Diane.
Yeah.
And that storage is, they have, there's a tremendous number of files for students with individual education programs and so forth, that their people in that office are in and out of those folders daily.
Right.
And then there's other storage requirements that you have to keep these records for 7 years and so forth. So there's a tremendous amount of storage that particular department needs, and they need access to it. So I think when we talked, if we put a storage in that, because in there would be the current files, if you will. So the administrative assistants that are in there, when they're going for files, are just going constantly, grabbing stuff out of that. So that was, I think our thought there, to have, essentially their current files in
But-
that area.
But to answer your question, Diane, I didn't take any of the required space out of this pale violet area. That's all still
Yeah.
there.
Okay. No, I know that they have a lot of file cabinets, and I was just wondering, would the file cabinets be there in the storage room, or would they prefer the file cabinets more accessible in an open area, or however you're gonna set this up? I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that-
But
yeah.
I suppose, Paul, you'll work that out with the staff, so.
Yeah, I can do that, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the current,
And then you have about 2,900 square foot storage on the third floor. Do you need that much up there as well?
No,
That's the total of the third
that's
floor.
the total. That's everything that's on the third floor.
Oh, that's everything that's on there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't label them all individually. I
Oh.
totaled it all up so that you didn't
you
have to do
totaled it all up.
so you didn't have to
Okay,
do the
got it,
math.
yeah.
I did it on
Alright.
each of the floors.
Yeah, I mean, we have payroll records and all that stuff too, there's a lot of.
you have a lot of paper.
Lot of paper.
But it could be that, I mean, all of the storage space that's on the third floor may be more than is required by for the school administration departments. It could be that some of the town office storage is up here. That's just to keep the floor plan, equal, so that we don't have to start changing the sizes of the floors. But again, if, that also changes if the Public Works Department comes out or if something else goes in, because everything has to kind of grow and shrink together. There's a question over here, George.
Oh, sorry, Sue, I didn't see it.
I'm Susan, and I'm the assistant town manager. I just had a quick question, just in terms of thinking about storage. I know, from my own experience in a couple of different places, many of our things have to be locked and, you know, be away from other people's storage, if you will, other department storage. For example, if it was police, it would be different, or if it was records on children, that kind of thing. Are we planning, because I know you said dividing that space up would be expensive in some of these areas, are we, or will we at some point look at the needs for the security of records versus just the square footage?
Yes, we had that discussion a little bit. Some of the questions we had, I think it was at the last meeting, about whether or not we needed vault storage or fire-rated storage for some of the records that we have. So we've started that conversation. We've also talked about the possibility of inside these spaces, segregating some of them off with something lightweight and inexpensive, like wood studs and wire.
Yeah, I've seen that done.
It's inexpensive, it complies with the code, it's secure, the light, the air, the fire protection can all go pass through it, so it makes a lot of sense, right? Every time I create a new room, I need a new exhaust fan and a door and a light switch, and all that stuff adds up, right?
Right,
So if there's
right.
ways that we could do things like that to provide security
Yep.
and still keep it cost effective, we've done things like that as well.
Thank you.
But the vault is assumed to be that way too. The vault is for 3 departments, so there'll be some sort of division inside the
We can
vault.
certainly divide it, sure.
Okay.
And one last question, just, I would like to ask here is, all right, so just for the people watching tonight, and this would be a question for Phil, so what are we looking at dimension-wise of this building? Height, length, width?
Oh,
Well, I think
Why don't we wait till we
we have a couple
give
of
us
things
an
that are on here
idea
right
of-
now that give you an idea, so.
Approximately, I don't expect you to be on the money, I mean, just approximately. What do you think we're,
I can tell you that right now, and when we get to the, I've got some model views, because you asked me for them, and so I've got them
Right.
to show you. What I'm showing right now, floor-to-floor height is 14 feet, floor-to-floor.
floor to floor is 14 feet?
14 feet is what I'm showing.
Yeah.
That's so that I have enough room for the floor slab, and then the steel structure underneath it, and then to be able to run ductwork and piping and everything around underneath that, and still give you a reasonable ceiling height in each of your offices and meeting rooms and so on.
Okay.
So that's basically what I'm talking about. I mentioned before that there's a column grid here that's 20 feet along. So that's 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160. And then the stairs stick out about 10 feet. So it's 180 feet, this portion. That's what that plan shows. And then front to back, I don't remember the dimensions offhand. I mean, they're on my CAD file, but I shut them off to make the drawing look pretty. But I think I'm 10 feet, and then 25, and then I think it's 8 and 25, and then 10 feet. 25, 20, 50, and 3 10's about 80. It's about 80 feet front to back, in rough numbers.
So, let's see, so we have 14 feet in height,
14 foot floor, right?
Times 3.
Per floor, 42
And-
feet to
and the
gutter
length?
line.
the length was what?
I don't remember what I said.
8,
180?
180, I think you
180?
said.
180 by 80.
180, okay, 180, all right.
And these are approximate.
These are approximate, I
excluding
got it,
the hearing room.
yeah.
And, right, and then on the first floor, the hearing room and the meeting room sticks out from that.
So that's excess.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
And the meeting room is 2,000 square feet, and the hearing room is 800, and so that whole thing is probably a couple thousand square feet more. I think the upper floors come out to be about 13,000 square feet each and some change, and the lower floor is about 18,000 square feet and some change right now, and it's totaling up to the 45 and some change that's in the program. I'm within a
Yeah.
couple of square feet of the program right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, you know, so, okay, so I'm just thinking, people watching tonight, you know, they're looking at just a flat piece of paper here, and I'm just trying to give them an idea, and I know you did some great elevations on it. So 180 feet in length of this building, approximately,
Yep.
180 feet in length.
That's what,
And
that's what this plan is
then
showing.
that including that extra, meeting room in the end,
No,
including,
No, that's an addition.
and then there's an addition to that.
down on the first floor, this, from this line
Yeah.
at the toilets over is additional.
Right, the very first floor, which has that, which has the large meeting room, right?
Approximately the same width and maybe,
Yeah, I think that this is
20,
this
40,
is something
60.
like 40 by 60, this
Yeah,
large meeting room,
60.
something like that.
Is it-
Okay,
60 by 80, the whole section there, we'll just call that.
Is it fair to say when we
and
get,
what about the width of the building, you know? The width, so if you took the
80
width
feet,
from,
right?
I'm looking at the first floor here on my computer here, and I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, so from the storage area to the front of the building,
Front to back, Diane?
the front wall there,
Front to back is about 80 feet on this drawing.
80 feet, okay.
so is it fair to say once we get a little further down the line and we have one of these forums, we can actually kind of represent this in a way that folks, you know, can envision what the scale of this is versus the environment it's set in?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's, you know, where perhaps Diane is thinking about trying to give folks in town here an idea of, you know, what, not only what the dimensions are, but what is its scale relative to its environment?
Well, this plan here, this is the site plan, and this, I mean, if you take a look at this and you compare it to the Buzzell, which is, that kind of brown, box down on the bottom left, it give you an idea about the size of the floor plate. It's bigger than the Buzzell in terms of its footprint sitting on the ground by a considerable amount.
2.5 times.
It's probably 2.5 times the footprint of the Buzzell, just looking at this, yeah. So, you recall the last one that we did was narrower, in this direction, so it wasn't 80 feet front to back, it was more like 70 feet or something like that, and it was longer, it stuck back here another 20 or 30 feet. So we've shortened the building and we've thickened it up across front to back a little bit. But basically it sits in the same spot. We've got a little bit of a green spot in front of the building, to give you an opportunity to get some grass or some plants there. We've got an entrance that comes into this, the kind of joint between this, one-story meeting room area and the 3-story office area. And then we've maintained a portion of the site, that is sloped. Right now, we're still showing that those stone stairs are staying there, and they could, as far as I know, but we haven't really seen the survey yet. I don't know what impact we're gonna have on the grade in this area. But what we're trying to do here is preserve an area of the slope lawn for sledding and for people to sit on and use and so forth, the way they use it now. That's what we've heard that people would like to do, and so that's what we're trying to do. The number of parking spaces in this hasn't changed since we showed you schemes A3 and scheme D. That's basically the same, 304 spaces. We did move around some of the handicap parking spaces. Right now, we are showing 5 spaces in front of the building. We used to have 8. We have moved one of the spaces over adjacent to the green. And then we have moved 2 of the spaces over adjacent to the 4th of July building. And we think that just gives you some flexibility, and the folks that come in to visit the building gives them flexibility. This number right here, 5, meets the requirements for what is required by zoning for this building, which is 140 spaces. This is what you need for that number, is 5. So we've left 5 here, we moved 2 over here, and again, 1 over here, so that if somebody is attending something on the green, or parking here to do something on the common, or to go to one of the events that we have here, we're just trying to keep it flexible.
Phil, that, the dumpster in the corner of the parking lot, is that what that is?
This assumes trash and recycling is down at this end of the parking
Now,
lot.
what's the distance to a resident's backyard there? I just wanna make sure we're not so.
Well, this backyard right here
Yeah.
is encroaching, it looks like, onto the property. I don't really know if that is the case, but it looks like there's some stuff, fence and a lawn that encroaches onto the property. But this is just based on the GIS information and the Google map overlay. I don't really know if that's the case.
Even the draft survey shows some encroachment too. That's what I think they're trying to tie off now.
When you look at the Google map, there's kind of a blue thing over here, and I thought maybe it was a swimming pool. I was a little worried that the neighbor's swimming pool was on the town property. I don't think it's a swimming pool, though.
Put a gate in?
I-
It's a town pool.
I-
You guys got a town pool.
I think I went over there, and I took a look today, and I think what I'm seeing there is a play structure. And I can't tell if it's on town property or not. If it is, you can move it. It's not like an in-ground pool that's really gonna be a problem. But I think it's all, the survey will tell us what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't know if there may be a better location for that, because
We were trying to make it convenient to the building so that you could get in and out of it, assuming that you're gonna be able to get out on the first floor here, and get to it, but there's probably other places it can go, especially if we end up expanding in the parking lot back here.
Right.
Having it come out of this door
that's kind
and
of
having
what
it
I
pick
was
up.
thinking. Maybe if, depending on how this lays out.
You could, and I don't know what you're gonna do with the Buzzell, but if you had trash and recycling for both buildings in the same spot, I
Perfect.
assume,
Yeah.
that would make more sense. So that is certainly
All
possible,
right, it was just a consideration.
somebody brought it up and I didn't wanna lose track of it, so we got it on the plan.
I know how I would be if I heard the trash truck coming in and slamming it down.
Yes, no, you're right, because there's some, with the tree canopy, with the leaves down, when you stand in this corner of the parking lot, you're right, you're looking right into these folks' backyard, so I could see that.
Okay.
So massing models, again, these are like massing models plus, it's really just one model. And what I did, because you asked for it, is I took the massing model that I showed you last time, that I kind of plopped down on the site on an aerial. And so you remember I took this aerial photograph from Google, and then I set up the model that we did. And again, this is just based on the GIS information, and it's a lot of interpolated information in here. Once we get the survey, we'll fix this so that it matches that. And so we took this, and then we plopped down a massing model on there. And then I know that it was difficult to see what was going on in this drawing, but that was intentional, and the reason is because the massing model is not really a building design. And this is the only one that we have done. Now, just like we've gone up to we're up at scheme E on the plans right now, we will do a number of schemes for the exterior of the building as well. There isn't just one way that the exterior of the building with this plan will look. In other words, if you decide tonight, for some reason, that scheme E is the be-all, end-all, and that's what we're gonna build, there's probably 20 different ways that we could clad the outside of the building, and it would look different. There's a bunch of different things. So this is just one idea. So I don't want you to think that we're done. This is just one scheme. And so what we've done is we've taken this massing model, which really just a series of blocks, and then we put windows in it, and we tried to articulate it. We put roof overhangs on it, but haven't done any design work yet, really. So just give you an idea about what something like that might look like. So I'm gonna zoom in on a cartoon, and it's gonna look like a building, but I'm trying to make it clear that this is not the final design, but it is just one idea about what it might look like, and it's based on
I think you
the.
had that in big bold letters.
I
too.
did that in big bold letters, so I'm belaboring the point. Okay,
Okay.
so let me get to it. So just to orient folks, and I know you all know, but I'm trying to make it clear for folks that are looking on at this as well. This is an overview. The Buzzell sits back here. The existing parking lot is in the center of the plan. The green is right there on the front. And on the right-hand side of the plan is a model of the high school, and the 4th of July building sits right there on the corner of the site. I'm pointing these things out because they give an idea about the scale of things. We tried to use the Google Maps and the street view photographs to model folks' houses, so they're pretty close. I mean, I don't have everybody's house right, but they're pretty close based on the information I had, kind of rough them out so that you can see. I'm going in the wrong direction here. So there is a bird's eye view. If I zoom in on that model, and then I punch a bunch of windows in it to show you what it might look like with windows in it, and then I put a sidewalk out front, and I put some people there so that you can see what's going on. So this is one way that a building of this size might look. We've got a combination of brick masonry and is what you can kind of see in that red color. And then there's kind of a gray thing, a gray color.
Like precast or a or something.
It
yeah.
could be. I
Something
don't
that
know.
Complements a high school, maybe.
It may be, yeah. I mean, that's kind of a buff or limestone color over there, but that could be something, yeah. But this is, when I did this massing model, we had, I had a kind of a brick red color that I was thinking, then I had a gray color that I put on the roofs, and then I used that on some other things as well. So I put a shingle on the roof here, and I left this gray color the way it was, and I put some windows in there to give you an idea about what's going on. Now, if you look at the ends, for example, there's no windows over here. That's where the stairs are, so we wouldn't have any windows in the ends. There's no windows in this, at the upper portion of this meeting room. We've got some high windows in there potentially, in the meeting room, because we're assuming the ceiling might be a little bit high. But that's what we put on there, so you kind of, again, we're trying to show you some scale. So this is standing on the common. If you go over to the common, there's kind of a big round circle, it's got kind of brick in it or something, and some plants in the center of the common.
Right.
I don't know what that is, I haven't been in there.
The memorial, right there?
Memorial,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The flagpole.
Yeah, okay, so you're standing very close to that memorial, looking back across the parking lot. So Middlesex Ave is right in the foreground, the entrance into the parking lot, Swain Green, obviously, and then there's the building in the background, and through the trees, you can see the Buzzell on the hill in the back. Okay, so there's the 3-story portion, there, meeting room, entrance.
And real quick, remind me, the main entrance there is off-center because we have the meeting space and then like the night lock where
Right.
right?
Right,
That's
this
why it's
matches the
not sort of
plan, right.
direct- Okay.
That's right, yep.
Thank you.
Kind of coming in, hook a left to get into the meeting
Yep.
spaces, and then if you take a right, you can get into the toilets, and then at nighttime, there's doors that close.
Where the
that-
office spaces
That
are.
protects the rest of the building.
That's what
Yep.
okay.
Kind of like a school.
Thank you.
And again, through design, roof lines and things can change, like that flat roof where that main entrance
He
is.
indicated that
Yep.
Yeah,
This
this is
could,
just to,
just repeating
Final
it so
design?
people understand.
yeah, we're starting to build
This is
tomorrow.
final design.
So this is standing across the street at the neighbor's yard. Let me show you where I'm standing here. I'm standing right here. Can people see that? I don't know if you can see that, Diane, but basically I'm standing on the neighbor's lawn across School Street, kind of at the edge of Swain Green, and looking back toward the building. So Swain Green, the corner of Swain Green is at the bottom right-hand corner. School Street is right in front of you, and you're standing in the grass. This pale blue-gray color is the grass. I didn't make it grass is not as greener on the other side of School Street, unfortunately, in this model. But that's where
trees aren't gonna be that big when you plant them either.
that's where the trees won't be that big when we plant them either, right? But that's what the building would look like from there. Meeting room, again, is on this end. Entrance is kind of tucked in around it. Buzzell on the left. So this is moving in closer into the middle of the parking lot.
It's like a police station. Police cars.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a bunch of police cars in there, yes. Some of my cars are getting a little dated, it looks like. Get some Teslas in there.
So there you go.
Update the software.
But you can see the difference on just the meeting room having, the two-tone colors and the punch out with the windows. Totally changes the perception of that space from when it was just a massing model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Just those little subtleties. And-
Just the
and there's-
articulation.
Like he said, there's gonna be 20 different versions that you can choose and say that works, that doesn't work.
Plus, I think you changed the roof line now, it kind of,
Yeah.
it's parallel with it, so it doesn't look so much like an add-on.
Stuck a couple people in there, so you can get an idea of the scale.
Someone's paying their tax bill in there,
And
There's
working-
Jeff greeting some people.
I think
inspiring somebody.
that is it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Is that what you were looking for, Diane?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey!
Score.
Very good.
Well, a lot of, it truly is unfortunate, that people really can't see that well on what you're presenting, And someday, soon we'll be having these storyboards, to be going around. That's why I was asking about the dimensions, as you were showing the blocks and everything. It really, to me, I have three things going here in front of me, and I'm looking at, your presentation that you sent, and it's very, very clear. It's just unfortunate that it just doesn't come out too well, to the people, but that's okay. I think we're still in the beginning stages anyway, and it's important that the members get an idea of the scale, and that's all I was trying to ask about, so that people could understand about the scale of this drawing to the piece of land that we're putting it on, as the town manager had said. And I guess we will go through several iterations of this
Oh, sure.
I think it would also be interesting to put the Old Swain School back on the site. I just out of curiosity as to where it's at,
Oh, where
the
it
size
was.
of it,
Yeah,
so that people can remember what it was.
yeah.
It was close to the street, and it was a bigger building.
I can model,
The
I have
historical
photographs.
commission probably has pictures
Oh, there's
of that.
pictures.
Oh, yeah, we got
I have
pictures.
pictures of that.
I think that's a great idea.
Back of
You
it.
know what I'm saying? I think that'd be a good idea for people to understand that this once had this school here.
Right.
And it was not a small school. It was a pretty fairly good-sized school,
Right, exactly.
so,
2.5 floors.
I can put that on there.
as a slide, maybe in the
Right.
future.
Any other discussion on that? I thought that was very good. Thank you.
I like it, and I think with these renderings, you can now see how the meeting part of the school, of the building, kind of mutes the height of the main building.
Right.
I think that works great, now that we can kind of visualize
Getting
it
there.
in the rendering. Yeah. I like it a lot. I like all the changes you made. I like that you moved the staircase closer to that front door. I think that's key, and keeping the vault off the main hallway is great. I think they're all positive changes. I think you did a great job.
Great, thanks.
So with the exception of the DPW question, we're pretty close on the plan. From a department standpoint, not an interior layout
We
standpoint.
still need to lay it out.
Yeah, but from a department standpoint, we're pretty close. Would you agree?
I would say you're pretty close, right.
Right.
Jack, you have any comment? You good? All right.
It was great.
Well, then is it important, George, for us to have, the final survey by the next meeting so that we
Yeah.
can give a better direction to Phil here?
I would think so. That could affect a few things on the building, so I think by our next meeting, we should have that, plus other members that are not here tonight. So at that point, maybe we can
We're riding them hard, Diane.
have a
Okay.
discussion.
Well, the weather's breaking there from what I understand, so it should.
Yeah, no, they did come out as soon as the snow cleared and
They're
shot
playing-
some more.
They're playing pickleball tonight. All right, so our OPM will give us a status on the budget. So what I did is I asked him to kind of review where we're at as far as our expenditures. And I don't know if you have that, it's not on
I
the
do,
presentation.
I don't have it on electronically for the television,
Okay.
so I don't know that
Well, you
Diane
can give
has
us a
it.
review and.
But I can walk through it, Diane, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
And I'll send you a PDF of it post-meeting.
Sure.
All right? Phil, you don't need this.
Thank you very much.
No, you can send me one
I'll send you one if you want.
at some point.
So, one of the members had asked, how much have we expended of the appropriation, and We've spent $120,790 of the appropriation. You appropriated $955,000, which is way more than we're gonna need. The designer's contract is almost $260,000, and he has expended 32%. The OPM's contract is $107,000, and you've expended 36%. And we have, budgeted 20,000 for geotech and 10,000 for survey, leaving a balance of 548,850 of non-committed amounts, which we knew from day one, you had too much money for the study portion of it.
Yep.
And we had always expected to go back and apply that to the next phase. So you'll be able to go to Finance Committee and apply a good portion of the study money to the next phase. So, all right, so we're in good shape. And we'll be doing the same thing on the senior center, although the senior center is not as in good shape as this project is, but it is still in very good shape from the appropriation on the senior center. So, and that's it.
Any
Right.
questions?
But
or
the
comments?
budget, this is the budget format we use for the entire project. Every single expenditure gets inputted into our program and populates this. So there's like 8 sheets behind this that you don't see into the categories that are listed in front, which you're welcome to have whenever you want, but it's just a bunch of, ledger work that creates the actual budget.
No, I think this is good. It shows, all the hard work that Phil's put into this and
Yep.
everything we got out. And we're coming in, and we are not even close to halfway, and
Yep.
we still have plenty of money. We're gonna come in under budget, so.
But should we have a need to do an extra or a change or a move, something crops up, we certainly have the funds to do that. And, that's one of the reasons why we
Right.
did what we did at the beginning of this project, so.
This is one of the, something that we will need to present when we give our reports at the annual town meeting.
Right, so when we get to the annual town, we're gonna start doing a draft on that probably next week.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss that a little bit later when we get on meetings, future meetings
Okay.
discussion, so.
All right, sounds good.
Any discussion on this? We good?
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good job. Since you're talking then, anything else on public outreach? I know we haven't really touched upon that, but,
Public outreach, at the last meeting, I indicated that after this meeting, we were gonna do another newsletter, and we are. We have enough, with the floor plan pretty much almost there. We'll do another newsletter, and, we'll populate it with some of those massing models that he's shown, and
Great.
with the disclaimer that this is not
right.
what the building's gonna look like, but they're just indicating that.
You send the draft on so we can kind of go.
Of course. We're gonna follow the procedure we established,
Okay, perfect.
all right?
All right. Discussion on setting future meetings. One of the things I wanted to talk about, and Phil also, is this happened with our senior center, because we're meeting every other week. And one of the things that they're doing is I'm also asking them to provide information so we can get it out to the committee so they can see it prior to it. So they're really not getting a full 2 weeks. So I'm just, my question on that is, are we kind of stressing them out a little bit too much? Are we getting the time in there, or that, and also to the point of our special town meeting coming up,
The annual.
annual, excuse me, thanks for correcting me, John. That way there, we can have the time to put that together. Because we need to be able to report this and show what we've been working on. And I don't want to put that together and then advance past that when we do have our annual town meeting,
So the annual town meeting's on the 30th, right?
April 30th.
So I was kinda hoping that we could stop, after the next meeting, just take a breather, on this, and after the 2 meetings with the senior center, stop, so that we can put together the reports necessary and have the most current information available for your annual town meeting. And then we'll pick it up literally right after town meeting and start right back at it.
So we are scheduled for the 30th.
Yep.
For our next meeting. It's also, we have, is that our prep, Jeff, for the annual town meeting that day also?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that could
4
be good.
o'clock.
Okay, all right.
I have, the school, Glenn and I have a session on the 30th from 4 to 6:30. On the
All right,
30th.
so you can jump in after
Yeah.
that? Yeah, okay.
We wanna start the meeting a little later then, or?
Yeah, we could discuss that. I have no problem making it 6:30 if it would, to accommodate the, school department.
Yeah.
Anything for Paul?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be here at 6:30, but we'd be here shortly after that.
okay.
So the next town meeting, George, is gonna be the 30th
The,
of March?
right,
Okay,
town hall school admin building will be the 30th.
okay.
I'll get,
We'll put the brakes on, new work after the 30th, and then, sometime around the 14th, we'll have draft presentation for town meeting that you guys can look at.
right,
you
I'll
know-
get it around.
You might have another meeting, but it's not gonna be new material. All right? Does that work okay with everybody?
That's fine.
That works,
That way, the most current information's going to the voters, and
correct.
we won't have any confusion, because a confused town meeting usually gets angry.
So we meet on the 30th, then 2 weeks after that would be the 13th, and we'd skip that one and just go right to town meeting.
Do we need to have a meeting before town meeting to look at any kind of?
Well, I was hoping to have the draft around the 13th of what we're gonna present.
The 13th?
Yeah,
Well,
is that
that's a
too
regular-
early?
That's a
That would
regularly
be a-
scheduled meeting.
That's what I
we
mean.
have.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be new material. He's not
I
gonna
see,
come
so we
with
still
new
have a
material.
meeting, I'm just not gonna be preparing anything new after the 30th.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
You and I, the week prior, will put together a presentation.
Then the next one would be the 27th, which we would not have.
We'll skip the 27th, and then, we'd do the same with the senior center. Our last meeting would be the 20th. We'd be reviewing their presentation on the 20th.
Right,
And their last meeting with new material would be, the 13th.
right.
Not the 13th, the,
Sixth.
6th.
Okay, I got a little confused there with the dates. I'm sorry. So the next town hall school administration meeting will be the 30th, and then we're gonna take a break.
Well, it's a meeting.
We're gonna meet, but we're not gonna have new material. We're gonna go over the presentation material for the town meeting.
Okay,
I get it,
and so that 30th is, we're gonna meet and we're gonna go over stuff for the annual town meeting, right?
Yes.
And then on the 13th, wait a minute here, okay,
So,
I'm gonna spend my time, instead of pushing this, I'm gonna spend my time helping you.
Yeah,
You-
we'll
you
put
materials.
together the report.
Okay.
And we'll run the report by the chairman. And then we'll present the report to the committee, and the committee can say, tweak this, tweak that, we'll tweak it, and we'll be ready for town meeting. On both,
that's the 13th, right?
Right.
April?
Yes.
You're
Yep.
talking about,
April
Okay.
13th will be the town meeting presentation.
So just as
Okay.
an FYI, that, we, under reports, committee reports, Article 2 on the warrant, we've got 4 reports. So the senior center, the town school admin, cabinet bylaw committee, and the Wildwood school committee. So, we probably want to, 10 minutes at the most.
I would just,
5, 10 minutes.
conceptual one, how many meetings we've had, what we've been doing, what we looked at, something.
you and I can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll go over that.
We'll go over it and have it, 7 slides. Quick.
Yeah, I've already talked to the moderator. He asked me to keep it under an hour and a half, so
The March 30th meeting, you talked about maybe having that at 6:30. Do you wanna change the time now, or should we wait for?
Is 6:30 gonna be adequate for you?
We'll be late. I mean, our session goes till 6:30, I don't know.
Okay, where's your session? Where
It's
is
at
it?
the high school.
It's at the high school. I mean, do you want to?
6:45?
Is there any new material coming from Phil on the 30th? I don't.
At our next meeting, yes, but after that, no.
Right, and by
Phil
then,
incorrectly.
Well,
Is that right?
basically, we would have the survey material, right?
We should have the survey by then,
So that-
God willing.
What if we did the meeting on the 30th at 7? Is that too late? That would accommodate.
7 is probably better for us. I mean,
7?
I can't say we'd be there exactly at 7, but it'd be.
Thanks, Paul.
we'd be
No, it's
close.
getting late.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Paul.
We said it's only an hour ride for you back home. That's what you told us.
Does that work for everyone? Make sense?
Who cares about the OPM, right, Paul?
I think you're the only one getting paid. Oh, Phil, yeah, you too.
I live in Melrose.
He lives in Melrose. He doesn't care when you start.
Yeah, I mean, does
7's fine with me. I'm happy to come at 7.
everybody fine with 7?
On the
say-
30th.
On the
30th
30th,
at 7
yep.
PM.
It's good for me.
We'll just blame that on the school
So the
department.
30th, and then the 13th of April will be the same time, no new material.
Right.
Draft for the town meeting.
6 PM on the 13th.
Right.
Okay, and then the 27th, we're not doing.
No meeting.
Skip the 27th. Everyone can take a breather and get ready for town meeting.
Beautiful.
Right.
All right?
Do we have any public comment? Susan, Jeff? Any?
I mean, my only comment, Dan, I have some notes to help you with minutes, and I'll send them to you.
It's appreciated.
I might even have almost done them, but we'll see. We'll see what you think.
You'll get a Christmas card if that's the case.
And if you type them up, there'd be a Dunkin' Donuts in
A
that.
gift card, maybe even
I
Starbucks.
wouldn't attempt to.
All right, okay. All right, last item on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Oh, hold it. Who made the motion to adjourn?
I did, yes.
Jesse made the.
Yep. And seconded by?
I second the motion.
Diane seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great.
And can we wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.